Hello, everyone, and I'm so excited today to be recording another What Moves Her podcast with an incredible woman. I call her a colleague and a friend. She's a business owner, a wife, a mother, and so much more. Amy Hummer, owner of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, Steinborn in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Actually, Amy, you were the last person that I saw before lockdown. So,
That
and
is
we've seen each
correct.
other since. But welcome to the podcast, and I'm excited to chat with you.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited about this.
So let's start with you as your journey. I know your husband very well. He's a great business partner to you, and also I'm sure you mentor each other. But tell us about your life and how you ended up in this crazy business of real estate.
Oh my gosh. And I think it's a great story. My background is in business. Married my husband in Dallas, and we traveled all around the United States with his career. And I got the opportunity during that time period to kind of reinvent my career several times as we moved around. In 2000, we came to Las Cruces, New Mexico, that we had never been in before. And he developed a hospital here, kind of thought we'd be on the move again. And we quickly figured out we'd fallen in love with where we lived, and we didn't want to move. And when you're in corporate America, you have to kind of figure out how you're going to make that happen. And a owner of a 35-year brokerage here in Las Cruces came to us and said, "What do you think about acquiring my brokerage?" And I had never thought about working with my husband before, and we were excited about the opportunity. But the curious little nugget there is that John and I didn't have real estate licenses, and we had never listed, sold a home, anything at that point. But we knew we had strong business backgrounds, and we wanted to kind of give it a go. And so in 2006, we bought Steinborn and Associates and started our real estate journey. And today, he has moved on to some other developments, and I want to say it's been about 9-10 years that I took over the lead as president and qualifying broker of the company. So it wasn't a traditional route to sit in this seat, but it's been a really rewarding one and a good one.
And so, were you able to use, because real estate is so particular, but it really is a business where it just happens to be about buying and selling homes. So you were able to use your business background and certainly John's to help build your company. And one of the things that I'm really impressed with is the structure that you have in place. Like things don't just happen by chance, everything happens for a reason. So talk a little bit about that if you could.
Yeah, well, my background was in commercial lending and contract management when it came to healthcare. My husband had worked in hospitals his whole life, so we brought a lot of that into the business environment. I would say one of the keys with John's, especially in what he taught me early on, he worked with physicians who were independent contractors. And I had never been in a work environment with independent contractors. And so moving into this environment with realtors was very different for me, legally, professionally, just all the different dynamics that come along with that. And so he was a great mentor with regards to working, with individuals that are not employees of the company. And so that was a little bit new to me. But I had always taken on leadership positions, whether it was in not-for-profits or whatever kind of organization or whatever business I was in, consulting. And so I was able to bring a lot of that here into the company. And my first responsibility when I came into our company was our support team, and getting to know each one of them, what their skill levels were, where they wanted to be in the future. And so that's where I got to first make my niche in the company. And I think that served me well. I even spent 6 months sitting in the accounting department learning how everything flowed through this company. And so I think that was one of the key elements, was that I was given that opportunity to really dig in and understand this business from the ground up. And we just grew with it.
And you've grown a lot. And so how much have you grown since you acquired the company in 2006?
What's interesting about it is we have today almost the same number of realtors that we had back in 2006, but a very different dynamic. These are all realtors that this is their profession. They are spending their time full time in the business. So our productivity per person is high because this is their career. And that's really rewarding when you're sitting in my seat, that you get to interact with individuals that embrace this as their profession, how they make their living. And so we have grown when it comes to the financial piece of it, but we really don't have a lot more realtors in the company. We've just changed the dynamic of who's engaged with us and who is in the company. And also since 2006, we've added a commercial division, we've added a property management division, and we've added a real estate school. And so we continue to kind of diversify, but all of it ties back to what we do as an industry.
And, it's actually your company is every broker owner's dream come true, where you don't necessarily have to add additional people or headcount of agents, but if you work hard to increase their productivity in a per agent basis, it actually drops to the bottom line, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yes, yes. And, one of the things that amazed me is your high market share where you are. So it's significant, right?
Well, I will give that credit to start with to the original owner of this company, David Steinborn. He built a company that it is a brand name in our market, and we didn't change that name of that company when we bought it in 2006. We believe that the name Steinborn was synonymous with real estate, ethics, values, community support, and so our signs still say Steinborn Associates like they did back in 2006.
And really, the company was built on, a strong culture, which you've maintained and just, continued to grow. And so, talk about the importance of culture within a company, because not all real estate companies have that.
I think it is probably the most important thing to focus on. And I know that we have to be watching the financials every day and the expenses and all those other, but if the culture and the core values don't exist, none of those numbers really matter to me, quite honestly. I need to walk in every day and know that the people that I've surrounded myself, they make me a better person. They lift each other up and make each other a better people. Our company is known for their community support and involvement, the diversity that we put out into our community. And I don't think there's anything I'm more proud of is that element of our company. And we're involved. Every organization in this community, you're going to find a Steinborn team member involved in some way. And so we support company culture through community involvement. We believe in activities that have zero to do with real estate, just having fun together. If you don't know how to have fun together, it's sure hard to come in every day and work as hard as we do every day in this industry. And so we have fun together. Our culture is all based on education and learning also. I will tell you, we have the most highly skilled realtors that I'll put them against anybody else in our community any day of the week. And so, you look at all those different elements of culture from inside your walls and outside your walls. And as I've told everyone, during 2020 and 2021, we were in a state that was in lockdown. But I walked into this building every day, making phone calls to our team members and staying connected because they gave me the energy. It wasn't what I was giving them; it's what they fed me during that time period. And so, if you have that, you wake up in the morning and you want to be right here in the business.
It's I just love what you've said around that, and it brings me back to the announcement day of becoming affiliated with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, which was, I think, I'm going to say March 10th, maybe,
Of
or
2020, you're about spot on.
spot on. Because what happened was I flew to you, and before we even got started with the announcement, I got a phone call from my, corporate office saying, "You've got to, you've got to come back. You have to get off the road." And so I said, "Okay." I said one more there's one more thing to do. And it was a great announcement. And, you know, I will never forget that day because of COVID, but also because of the fact that the culture within your company, no one was upset about change. They looked to you as their leader. And that impressed me so much because, I've been through hundreds and hundreds of these, conversion and affiliation announcements throughout my career. And there's always something. But at your company, there was nothing. It was
We
just
we were
happiness.
fortunate. I always believe they have to trust me and I have to trust them, and that is a part of my leadership style. Is that if the trust doesn't exist, then we're not going to move forward together. And so that, I think, was demonstrated a lot on that day. Is that, and it's twofold. It's not just that they trusted me, but I trusted them to embrace Better Homes and Gardens and know that Better Homes and Gardens was coming to our table to add something very significant to our company. And so it's a two-way street all day long.
It is. And thank you for having faith in us at that time and, ongoing, obviously. But let's talk about leadership because it's tough. I know it. You know it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need help. And so you have, always understood that and, have had coaching, mentoring. Talk a little bit about that because there's one person who is near and dear to both of our hearts that I've actually, used for coaching and you have as well. So talk about the importance of that.
It is. It has made such a significant difference in my life. If anyone ever asks me who my mentors, coaches are in my life, I have three very distinct people. The first one was a female leader in a large corporate bank when I was 21 years old. She taught me how to go sit at the table, no matter what was going through my mind at the time or what my stomach was doing, how to walk in that room and take my seat and contribute. And I will always remember what she did in that mentoring and coaching with me, because even 30, 40 years later, I still remember those words and how she inspired me and she trusted me. My husband is another one. What's unique about John is he is a visionary and he's an implementer, and you don't find that in leaders very often. They're usually in one category or the other. And so I found it really great to be able to watch him. I think I mentor and coach him in his career. He does the same for me. And then, it's who you just referred to as Mike Staver. And it was in 2019. I'd had the reins of this company for a few years, and I knew I was struggling. And I think that's really important for leaders and to know is be vulnerable and recognize when you're in that state. And I thought I had to be who John was when he sat in this very same seat. And we have very different skill sets and we approach things very differently in so many different ways. And I engaged with Mike. He is still my mentor and my coach, and those conversations are invaluable to me. He's taught me how to stop and quit diagnosing problems without breathing and take a step back, be curious, spend time with the right people. And the other piece of that I took to him, and this kind of all clicked into place for me recently, was when I went through the Ascend program with Anywhere. One of the speakers was Sue Yannicone. And one of the things she said was a strong leader surrounds himself with people that fill in your personal gaps. And
Yes.
I took that back to Mike Staver in a conversation, because that was one of the biggest ahas for me is I don't have to check all these boxes. I have to make sure I have all the right people surrounding me that check those boxes. And so Mike focuses on that with me. Where are those areas, and can I fill that area, or who is that person that can come in? And as a leader, what Mike's taught me is that you don't need to be the one in the spotlight all the time. You don't, if the company succeeds and you've taken a step back, but you've put the right person up front to push it forward, then my leadership worked. And that has been a real strong coaching component with Mike. And yeah, I'm not giving my time up with Mike. Never.
Oh, don't. That is I love what you said about Sue too, because she's absolutely correct. And, there are leaders who feel as though it's all about them. And, that is a leadership style that actually works for some
Yes,
people.
absolutely.
It's more of an eco-driven
Yeah.
leadership style. That doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for you. Our styles are very similar, I think, where it's a collaborative leadership style. And I love nothing better than to have team members on my team excel far beyond what I could do. Then I know that I've done my job and it benefits everyone. So it's
A
wonderful.
little unknown secret about me, think I'm going to put it out there today, is that that's one of the things I love best is when I see our support team or our realtors when they just blow through it. They've got the confidence, they know their potential, they put it into play. And what I do is I do a happy dance. Now, I don't do it out in the hallway and no one else sees it, but I literally will come in my office, close the door, and do a happy dance. And it's not over anything I did, it's something that I saw someone else do. And I want to say, celebrate them because they pushed through something and they've moved the needle for our brokerage. And that sets me on fire every single time.
I love that so much. And that is a
There is a
great.
dance that goes with it, but it's not public.
That's okay. I can envision what it looks like. And thank you for sharing that, because that's something that, hopefully our listeners will take to heart, no matter what their role is, whether they're within the real estate industry or not, and whatever their job is, that, if you just give openly, it comes back to you tenfold. I believe that. I try and practice it each and
Yeah.
every day. And I know that you do too. But Amy, I want to talk about, a more recent thing that happened. And I remember getting a call from you where you said, I think that I'm going to sell part of the company to someone that I trust, someone that has been with me for a long time. And you felt that that was the right thing to do. Many broker owners and company owners would never want to do that. And so, can you talk about that a bit and what effect that has had?
Absolutely. And it's been a game changer, again, for our brokerage. The I knew there was a moment in time that I knew that I had been entrusted with a legacy from David Steinborn, and I needed to foster what that legacy looks like 15, 20 years from now. And so I started doing just a lot of thinking on this. And I think in my heart, I always knew who the individual was and what it was going to look like. I think you and I had even had some earlier conversations about what my heart was telling me during a certain period of time. But Zane Fakani, he is a very successful realtor. He is a visionary. He is creative in how he approaches his real estate business. And so I approached Zane and his wife, Kayla, and I said, "Do you have an interest in partnering with me in the company?" And so, of course, it's not an easy road getting to that final contract and getting all that put into place. But what again, it goes along with their strengths, bringing them into the company, areas that are not my strengths that they are able to put focus on. And Zane is, when it comes to marketing and thinking on the brokerage level and the realtor level, is just extraordinary. And so it has been a great opportunity. The best part about this whole partnership, though, is I get to still be in this seat every single day. I didn't have to give any of that up, and I'll be in this seat for a really long time. I was really clear on the front end that I love this industry and I'm not ready to move away from it. And someone asked me recently, they said, "Well, with all the changes in the industry, don't you think maybe, are you getting done, Amy? You did this partnership." And I think it has re-energized me, quite honestly.
Totally.
It may sound strange to some people, but I see these changes in our industry, I think, very differently than most people. And we're embracing those changes as a company, and I get to lead that effort. And so when when the partnership occurred, there was natural angst from your team of what does this look like for us? What happens 2 years from now, 4 years from now? And hopefully now, a year and a half down the road, they see that I'm still sitting in the same chair. I'm still delivering at the same level that I've always delivered for them. And this will go on for a long time. So I kind of got a win-win out of that partnership in
I'd
many
say you
ways.
did. And, really that was stepping outside most people's comfort zone and identifying an opportunity and acting upon it, which was great. As we wrap up, want to ask you, is there a book? Is there a podcast? Is there a last, words of wisdom that you can share with everyone who's listening today?
Oh, I'm always reading. So if anyone goes and looks at my nightstand or anywhere on my desk, usually there's a few new books out there. And one of them that I'm reading right now is called The Gap and the Gain. And it is fabulous for anyone that's looking for something to really move their mindset in the right direction. But what I'd say from an advice standpoint that I love to talk to young people in our industry, young leaders, and those kinds of people is start by leading yourself. We're in a really disruptive world right now, and you have to set the example. Get up every day with a purpose, stick to that purpose. Don't let the chatter out there get you off course. Know where you're going and how you're going to get there. And so sometimes they come to me and people will come and they'll say, but I'm not a leader. I don't run a company. I don't have anyone, doesn't matter where you are, lead yourself first and set that example, and you will have influence and impact on people that you won't even recognize, quite honestly. And so I'd say that if any of my advice, that's probably the most impactful that I love to share with people. And then I'd say that one of the things I've learned late in my life, and I wish I had learned this a lot earlier, is to be way more curious in this world. That's one thing that Mike Staver has taught me. Ask more questions. And I think in the last 5 or 6 years of my career, I have learned and grown more than I did in the 15 years probably prior, because I'm being a lot more quiet and just asking a lot more questions. And I think if people would embrace that mindset more often, they'd see things change in their life just exponentially.
That's fantastic advice. It really is. And, as we wrap up, the craziness that's going on in our industry right now and the disruption really creates incredible opportunities. And for someone like you, Amy, and others, you just open your eyes to it and those opportunities will come. I want to thank you so much for sharing today. I know that you will inspire many with what you talked about, and I will always be one who will stand at your side. Thank you
Well,
so much.
Sherry, you inspire me. You know that, right? That is, where I sit today is largely because of you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amy.